Hey, everybody. I thought I would do this recording with regards to the presentation I did for Sibway up in Ontario on November 1st. Sorry, totally got the date wrong there, but it is November 1st. And I'm just going to go through what I was speaking about a little bit more in depth so people here in Nova Scotia can get an understanding of what I'm trying to do with regards to the ecosystem and how it will benefit more Black entrepreneurs and primarily Black women entrepreneurs. How does that sound? Anyways, so let's get right at it. Creating pathways for the Black female Gen Z conference. That was the title of the conference, but this goes right across the board for anybody. It doesn't have to be the Gen Z. This is any Black woman that is in a professional atmosphere or they're an entrepreneur. So, welcome to Promote Her Conference, ladies. The table of contents is clear: definition, strategy, implementation, challenges, and how we can all act on what I'm going to speak about today. So, for those who know, you know. Those who don't, we're going to do a little quick recap. Black Women in Excellence, BWIE, also known as, is a non for profit organization based out of Halifax, Nova Scotia. We were established in September 2020, and since then, we have helped 67 Black women across Canada start businesses. Our main objectives are to educate, encourage, and inspire Black women entrepreneurs within Canada. We have three main core programs. We have the 16-week startup cohort, the 6-week scale your business cohort, and the 6-week mentorship initiative. We also do pitch competitions, pop up events, collaboration with other organizations and businesses. We do coaching calls, a power and numbers dinner. As you can see, the women here in the picture. By the way, these are not stock photos on any of these slides. These women were at a power and numbers dinner that we held at Lot 6 a few months back, probably in late spring, early spring. I can't remember now. But we do things like that. We do everything that we need to do to empower, inspire, and educate Black women entrepreneurs. So anything outside the box, BWIE has it covered. Well, this one drives me nuts because I hate talking about myself. But anyways, Tia Upshaw. I'm a mother of three, serial entrepreneur, facilitator, motivational speaker, consultant, mentor with Rise Helps and Scotiabank Women's Mentorship Initiative. I'm also the finalist for the 2022 and 2023 Halifax Chamber of Commerce Business Awards, Business Leader of the Year specifically. Also a nominee for the 2021 and 2022 RBC's Women of Influence. And as most of you guys know, I'm the CEO and founder of Black Women in Excellence. Here's a definition and the issue at hand. Amoy Henry said it the best, and Amoy is a part of Pitch Better. And she said, Black women entrepreneurs face unique challenges, which underlines the importance of adopting an intersectional lens. It is paramount to apply this intersectional perspective to reconsider how such programs are created in order to level the playing field. And take a minute, you guys can read that back again, but this was on point. Um, she said everything I want to say just in one statement. So this is the definition of what I am going to go into today. Our strategy is to have the nerve and the tenacity to open access for Black women business owners. And here's what BWIE has planned for 2022 and 2023. Access to mentorship, access to platforms, access to funding, access to information, and access to networks. And I'm going to go through each of them briefly. We're going to start with the access to networks. We're looking at creating more events for Black women business owners and invite investors, angel investors, financial institutions, and decision makers to these types of events. This way, Black women in business become accustomed to networking events, how to conduct themselves, what to say, build partnerships with one another, and narrow down their pitch, their elevator pitch. We will be working with Pitch Better on this on a regular basis in the near future as partnership from organization to organization on this initiative. Access to information. Since 2021, Black Women in Excellence have been attending numerous events to ensure that my presence, TS, as a Black woman in business, and as a leader, is known. I'm sitting on committees with numerous boards now to ensure that I'm able to get the proper information and when and how it would benefit Black women in business in Canada. Going into 2023, my momentum will not stop, ladies. My momentum will be more aggressive going through each province in Canada and meeting with those who are the who-whos. Access to funding. This is a big one. In 2022, I partnered with Credit Union here in Nova Scotia, Halifax, Nova Scotia, to ensure that any of the Black women that go through any of the cohorts through BWIE, primarily the startup cohort, can go to the credit union and access microloans. We are now almost into 2023, and I will have a more aggressive mentality to ensure the partnerships are intentional for growth and change for Black women in business. I'm looking to partner with TD Bank and or Scotiabank on a higher level of grants and loans for Black women in business. Currently, Scotiabank has three programs that could be utilized for Black women. One, the Black Entrepreneurship Fund Initiative. Two, the Guaranteed Government Loan Program. And the third one, the Women's Initiative. I've already had meetings, and I have meetings that are going to be set in stone with the decision makers for both of these banks for Atlantic provinces in next coming weeks. So wish me luck on that. Um, Access to platforms. Continue to be more aggressive in the ways to create spaces for Black women entrepreneurs to celebrate and showcase their services and products here in Nova Scotia, and then to partners and businesses and organizations such as Black Owned Toronto. Access mentorship, sorry. Build and continue to promote our mentorship initiative, Fix Her Crown, throughout Canada. Personally and professionally, I will continue to be a mentor and give myself as a mentor through different mentorships initiatives, like I do now with Rise, uh, the Bank of Nova Scotia, or Scotiabank, sorry, and also with my organization, BWIE. So that's a little bit about the strategy. Here we are, another one. Top challenges. Top challenges. We are dealing with literally not having the right accurate research when it comes to Black Nova Scotians and our businesses. There are two main researches that came out in the last year or two, and the numbers are pretty alarming when it comes to Black women run businesses. But for Nova Scotia, it doesn't seem like we're in this research. One of them primarily was saying they surveyed 700 business owners throughout Canada. And I'm like, well, I wasn't surveyed and I've been in business 10 years. So I like to know where they're getting their demographics, where they're getting their numbers, who are they speaking to, and who are they surveying? Because I don't think the research reflects Nova Scotia. And as I said up in Toronto, that Nova Scotia has the biggest Black community in Canada, the biggest, which is North Preston. And the research doesn't really side with that. Funding, another top challenge. It is so hard to be able to access capital for all different reasons, biases, unconscious biases, discrimination, racism. The list just keeps going on. And I'm just tired of it. So I'm looking to do something to fix that, and that goes and coincides with access to capital. So access to capital is with funding, but when I said funding, I should have been more particular. I was talking about grants. We are kind of last to know about these government grants and government monies that come out to support Black-owned businesses. The bigger cities in Canada are already aware of these. They're sitting at these tables, they're having discussions, and for me, being the only Black organization that primarily works with Black women entrepreneurs in the Atlantic provinces. I am the only one that only works with Black women entrepreneurs. That is our objective, To be last to find out when there's money being sent out is unacceptable. Partnerships. I spoke about this yesterday in the video. When it comes to Black organizations and businesses, we really need to start working together to be able to get to the greater goal that we all want to do. And information kind of coincides with the funding. We are not being informed, and if we are, we're the afterthought. So we're not being informed when things are happening, when there's procurements, bids, when there's government funding, when there's galas and workshops and things like that are free of charge. We're not being aware of it, and even if they're not free of charge, we still don't find out until maybe a day or two before. And when you're a Black woman in business, stats will show you that most of us are mothers, where most of us are single mothers. Most of us are still working a 9 to 5. So to be get an invite to an event that's going to happen tomorrow night or the night after, it's not going to work for our schedule and our busy lifestyles. So I want to change that also. I did skip one here, but I'm gonna. No, I didn't. Oh, I'm good. Here we go. Implementation, accessing capital, how we're going to do it, government funding, how we're going to do it, accurate research, how we're going to do it, partnerships, how we're going to do it, and information, how are we going to do it. As a Black woman in business, this remains to be the biggest barrier for Black women owned businesses in Canada. I am currently working with the Forum for Women Entrepreneurs with their AFIA initiative, which is an initiative that will be utilized for online interactive training for financial institutions across Canada, literally across Canada. And they or me or we will be covering transgender in the business communities, Black women in the business community, Indigenous women in the business community, and the LGBTQ plus women in the business community. For instance, eliminate systemic problems report shows that usually Black women who start businesses are in retail, but yet there's no funding for businesses in retail. That's a barrier. That's a huge issue. If stats show the majority of Black women businesses are in retail, why is there no access to funding? Not all businesses want to be in the tech world. There's a lot of funding for tech world, but there's none for retail. Government funding. There needs to be an ecosystem that supports all provinces, grassroots organizations, and that not to be left to the bigger organizations to choose. The West Women Entrepreneurship Strategy Funding had implemented similar eligibility requirements. In order to apply for funding, they were, even though they were a little bit more, intense and picky, and undesirable for most, I was quite happy when I seen it. And I didn't even qualify to apply for funding because how strategic they were. But basically, they were thinking along the same lines as me. You had to partner with other organizations outside of your community, outside of your province. You had to be bilingual. You had to have a lot of requirements. But the fact that they started implementing this, which they should do a long time ago, especially for federal funding, really made me happy. Here's my example what I think it should look like. When applying for provincial or federal funding in an organization, you should have to partner with three other organizations that are Black, women ran, or their initiative or objective is to work with Black women entrepreneurs. One should be with another organization that is outside of their province. Example, if I was applying for funding, I would have to pick three organizations. I would pick one outside of my province I never worked with before, and the other two I could pick within my province. If I'm partnering with a grassroots organization, not only am I using the organizations that are in the community at large, because grassroots, those are the organizations that really know what's going on the ground. The bigger organizations don't have a clue what is absolutely going on. They don't have the data and they can't get the stats. And the trust is not there because they're high level. But the grassroots, that's where and how and who they should be working with. It is important knowing what the needs are in different provinces in order to scale any organization nationally. The issue, what is going on with the ecosystem today, is it's built to only benefit from the popular organizations of the ecosystem. It is also built for the top tier organizations, and then they're given millions of dollars, and the grassroots organizations are receiving nothing or near the pennies, and not being able to scale or sustain an organization because of burnout and lack of funds. Um, I guess that just kind of sums it up of what I'm really trying to say, you guys. I don't want to go too much detail into it, but that's basically what I'm saying on this. What we're trying to do, BWI is trying to do for Canada. Accountability. These are the needs. Accountability with decision makers and financial institutions. First steps, we will need to identify the criteria and deliverables, basically a documentation of requirements to meet and hold funders accountable, and the three important pillars that should be implemented: policies and practices, province to province awareness, and a corporate culture. I'm actually going to go back to that. I'm actually going to go back to that. Policies and practices. The first question I ask potential clients when I sit down with them is with regard to your funding to Black entrepreneurs, like financial institutions I'm speaking about. With your funding for Black entrepreneurs, are your frontline staff or loans officers, sales, whatever it may be, are they trained on diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility? And do you guys practice this every single day, or is it a 1 day or half a day training and you get to check the box? So policies and practices, they need to be accountable. Province to province awareness. If there is a financial institution that has a new initiative with regards to Black businesses and funding, this awareness should be made throughout the province in Canada, not the popular cities, towns, or even provinces. Awareness should always be made to individuals that are working in the community. So, an organization as mine, BBI, Tribe, Black Girls Gather, the list goes on. We should be made aware of this. Example of why I feel like we're never being made aware. I attended an event last week with the Halifax Chamber of Commerce, and I found out that in September 20th, to be exact, 2022, they now have a Black entrepreneurship loan fund that they just launched. How did I not know about this? If I didn't attend that event, I would not have had a clue. So that was pretty alarming that this is still going on and that I'm not being notified, and how many countless others are not being notified of this money that's put out there to help us be sustainable in business and scalable. The corporate cultures across the province, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and accessibility should be the number one thing when it comes to Black women run businesses. When they're opening bank accounts, registering their businesses and applying for capital boldly and receiving it. An increase 20% across the board within their first year implementing these policies and practices should be happening. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'm going to work my hardest to ensure that the numbers rise. Black women make vulnerable contributions to the Canadian ecosystem, and we shouldn't be the afterthought. And these are the three reasons why: creating businesses to meet unique needs of African Black community and Nova Scotians. Black businesses focus on products and services designed specifically for Black and African communities, such as hair and skin products and African cuisine. Inspiring business to celebrate Black cultures, supporting the community. Some of the entrepreneurs they're always motivated, or I shouldn't say always. Some of the entrepreneurs were motivated by empathy to create businesses that provide a safe space for other Black women. Our challenges, which I believe I already went through. Or did I? Let's go back. Nope, we're good. We already went through that. How we can all act. Together, let's build an inclusive, innovative ecosystem that supports Black women in business, guys. That is my biggest objective for the next 2 to 3 years. It makes me breathe when I think about it, but we're in it for the long haul. Financial institutions, they need to develop policies that support Black women entrepreneurs, including access to childcare, income support, targeted investments, procurement, education, and micro grants, not loans. Doesn't always have to be a loan. We can give you guys grants. Representation. There needs to be more promotion of more positive role models and success stories of Black women entrepreneurs. Black women entrepreneurs need access to financing, skills development, help navigating available supports, and coaching tailored to their needs. Government and decision makers. Implement anti racism training and awareness for decision makers and allies at all levels in the ecosystem. Celebrate, provide funding and networking opportunities for young Black women entrepreneurs in their early stages of business, develop to strengthen their skills and knowledge of inception. And my biggest one I always speak about is partnerships. Within incubators and accelerators, increase the number of Black mentors, advisors, staff, and is tailored to the needs of Black women entrepreneurs. So that basically sums up what I spoke about on November 1st. Sorry about that. Let's work together. There is a clear disconnect from province to province with regards to partnerships with the Black entrepreneur or entrepreneurship organization. It is basically 2 out of 5. We need to work together through Canada to complete what we've each individually started. And I'm going to say thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for listening to me today. It was my pleasure. I look forward to working with each and every one of you. And we do have a community engagement in North Preston, November 26th, 2022, from 1 until 4 p.m. It is free to come. And I hope to see some new Black women come out and see what Black Women in Excellence is out here doing and what we could possibly do with you or for you. Remember, it's a beautiful day to be a Black woman. Talk to everybody soon.